So Miriam married 3 years. Wonderful.
To just say mazel tov, you're like a newlywed.
Yeah, you really are like a newlywed. So this is good. We have other people.
Okay, question number one is has to do with respecting your spouse. So I grew up in a home where my mother didn't really respect my father. Like she would talk down to him, she would yell at him, she would call him names, and he would just kind of take it. And so I saw this all the time growing up. And so for me, like when I talk to my husband, like I really don't scream, I don't call names. So I think I'm being very respectful. But in his world, his parents were divorced. His parents got along. He never saw any sort of fighting at all. And so anything I say that's like a little bit maybe critical or anything, he thinks I'm not respecting him.
I got it.
So I'm curious to know your opinion on how we can respect our spouse and how we can say things nicely. And
it's good questions. Good question. Wow, Miriam, very good. Let me just, first of all, give you a huge congratulations on recognizing that in your mom and your parent and your father and mother's relationship. And you know, it's like it's this huge, you just climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and got to the top and placed a flag at the top that you are aware of this, that you are working on this. Seriously, you really, and not only that, you need to pat yourself on the back because that is a hero. That's what we call, according to the Gra, to the Vilna Gaon, this is a hero, somebody who works on themselves and introspects and makes it different, makes it improvement in their own character traits. So first of all, I just have to mark this moment in history that you were able to do that. And for anybody listening, this should inspire you that it can be done. Okay? In this day and age today. Okay. So now, what you're talking about is the gap between where you are and where your husband thinks you should be, yeah? There's a weird time delay on here. Can you hear me? Yeah, you heard. Okay, so right there, you're talking about you got to a place and you are pretty proud of yourself, as you should be, for where you got to, but he is hypersensitive to this issue. Am I understanding correctly so far?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go through. Can you, in your mind, think of a typical incident that happened recently that, like an example of where you said something and you were just like shocked, like he's upset about that? Like, come on. Is there such an incident?
Yeah. I'm thinking we really didn't start fighting until after we had our baby. We used to get along like beautifully, and a big issue that we'll hopefully get into also is helping with the baby. And I often feel resentful that he doesn't offer to help more around the house than with the baby. And so sometimes like if I say something like, Justin, why can't you just do this? Why can't you just help me? Why can't you just do this? Like, why does it have to be such a problem? Like, if I say something like that, he will like shut down and he'll say, you're not being nice, you're not respecting me, and in my mind, like, I didn't call him a name, I didn't yell, like, I don't think I'm being disrespectful.
Fine. So let me ask you this. In your husband's getting raised by he lived with his mom and then maybe some siblings or something like that.
Yeah.
And his parents got along beautifully, even though they're divorced, which isn't really saying much because he wasn't exactly putting his smelly socks on her pillow or something. You know what I'm saying? Is that gross, disgusting? But I mean, you know what I mean? Like when you're not living under the same roof, it's much easier to get along. Even though your soul yearns for that connection and whatever pain and suffering they lived with being divorced is beyond, and what the children had to live with is beyond. And I'm not saying I'm not anti-divorce, but I am anti getting divorced, for the wrong reasons. And I think a lot of divorces happen, could be worked on, and they find the same problem in the next marriage. But that's a whole other topic. But for him.
Yeah.
I don't know what his mom was like, but I would have a feeling that probably she would overcompensate for their suffering by maybe being hyper nice. I don't know this for a fact, but it's quite plausible that she, because she knew the
Yeah, I
divorce was
think
going to
so.
hurt them, she would overcompensate and give them a little bit more candy than they should probably have, and give them, let them off the hook a little bit, not yell at them, which is great and fine, and that might have worked in that
Yeah.
situation. But it set the bar very, very high of what a couple lives through on day-to-day annoyances and bad habits or tones of
Yeah.
voice and all of that. It's work.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So let's get this down. Your husband has
Right.
probably a hypersensitivity to this, which is fine. That's how he was made or whatever. How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah.
And in terms of letting him be able to, does he need to change his level of sensitivity, or do you need to change your way you speak? And I would venture to guess it's both. But it's got to probably start with
Okay.
you in order for it to be as powerful as possible. If it starts with you, you're going to have the best and fastest results. Waiting for him to change. Good luck with that. If anyone in the audience knows how to make that happen, send me an email
Okay.
and we'll follow their advice. But until that happens, men don't change on a dime like this. And waiting around for them to change, good luck. So what we want to do is we want to take a look at now respect. So let's take a look at there. Very interestingly, a few weeks ago, I was meeting with a couple, and the husband's understanding of respect was very different from the wife's, and it caused a lot of conflict. So I'm just wondering if I go there. No, let me just find out. So you asked him, you said to him, why don't you help with the baby? What is that about? First of all, do you work full time or you work part time? Does he work full time? Let me know what's the status there.
Yeah. So he works full time. I work part time. We do have help in the house. But I'll say again, I think it stems from how we grew up. Like, I grew up in a very non-traditional home. My dad was very hands-on, and he helps with everything. Like, I'm saying, he cooked, he cleaned, he changed diapers. Like, he was because his job was less demanding, so he was able to be around more. But my husband, since he grew up in a divorced home, he saw his mom doing everything by herself. And so he thinks, I'm capable, I can do it by myself. Why do I have to keep asking for help?
So
that's why this is an issue that keeps coming up.
I get it. How many hours a week do you work?
I genuinely feel like I need more help. I would say I work about 3 to 4 hours a day.
So it's kind of a little bit less than half time. Is your time flexible, or you have to be report somewhere?
But I also.
You have to report somewhere and be at a specific place at a specific
I have
time?
to report somewhere.
Pardon me?
And then I also. Yeah.
You do report somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you also
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So you report somewhere.
I also write on the side, so I'm doing like freelance writing.
Okay, you're doing freelancing on the
Yeah,
side.
I'm writing and teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how old is the baby?
The baby's 18 months.
Okay, that's it.
And I want to be clear. I'm not constantly asking for help. It's like.
We can't hear you.
But
we missed what you said.
Exhausted. Like,
We
I get up with her in the morning. I'm with her all morning. It's more at night when I'm.
She's fading in and out. We don't hear her.
I said that I am not constantly asking for help.
Miriam, you're fading in and out. Are you on speakerphone or regular?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go off speaker. I'm sorry. We should start
Is that better?
when we tell them. Yeah, no speaker. We're hearing every other word. So you're saying you're not constantly asking for help. It's just at night.
Okay.
At night you're asking for help?
Yeah, basically. It's just at night or on the weekends when I don't. Yeah, like before bedtime, and then like some on the weekends.
And what kind of help are you asking for?
Can you watch the baby for a half hour while I clean up the kitchen? Can you help me? Can you just change her diaper? Whatever, like little things like that.
I hear. So, this is a toughie because
And yeah.
what? This is costing you your shalom bayis, both in terms of asking him for the favor.
No, I was going to say like, yeah.
And asking for the favor, and then
No, sorry, I'm listening.
all of your other time that you're together, he's wondering, oh my gosh, let me go in the other room before she catches me and tries to ask me to do something. So he can't even be home. He can't even be home.
Right.
Are you hearing this? Your husband is not safe in his own
Well,
house.
we've spoken.
You've spoken about what?
I mean, we've spoken about how I need his help before bedtime. She goes to sleep early, so by 7 p.m., I leave him alone. He has the whole night to do what he wants every night.
And then what happens?
Yeah. Nothing. He's happy.
And then what do you want him to do at 7 o'clock? What are you wanting him to do? There's such a delay. I don't
Nothing.
think
I need help before. I need help from 6 to 7 before she goes to bed.
What kind of help do you need from 6 to 7?
And it's not every night. Not every night. A couple.
Right. I'm not.
Just an extra hand around the house. So if I'm trying to make dinner, can he watch her?
Right. So I'm sensing you're getting defensive about what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand the facts first, then you can get defensive. Okay. I haven't mentioned. Okay. I right now I just am trying to fact
It's a very
find.
sensitive issue for me.
I get it, and that's totally fine. And I'm sure you speak for thousands of other women. There's nobody who's listening to this who isn't saying, "Yeah, wait a minute, hold on a second, Leah, are you going to tell her it's all on her?" So we're going to get there. I just need to fact find. So you are saying that he gets home and you leave him home. You leave him alone until between 6 and 7. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I have to wait for her to hear it. Okay, we are learning the technology here. So, so you every few nights of the week between 6 and 7, you need his help, and the other nights you don't need his help. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This is too long. Next week we have to figure this out doing it on a phone. This isn't working so great. Sorry guys, this is the delay is a little bit. We didn't have the delay last time, did we? Not this bad. Anyway, okay, fine. And we just increased our upload speed. Who knows how this stuff works? Okay, so Miriam, how do you know when to ask him to help you and when you don't need him? That it's just how you feel at the moment, if you feel stressed or not stressed? How are you determining that?
Yeah. It's really if I think I can handle it, I will leave him alone, and if I really feel like I need help, I will ask him.
I see. And so he is kind of left a little bit. I got off the hook. Like being with his child is either a big burden or he doesn't have that burden. There's no pleasure there. Is that accurate?
No, there is. He enjoys it, but
you're moving around.
He enjoys it, but
Miriam,
I don't.
Hold on, Miriam. Miriam, I need you to sit still somewhere because there's a lot of interference.
Let me try going to another room.
Yeah, sorry. And we're hearing all kinds of interference. It's very, what is that noise? What's that? That's her walking or doing something?
Okay.
I think we have to send directions to
Okay, I'm sitting in a
Yes.
spot now. Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh, so much better. Do you know? Yeah. Okay. By the way, there's 1,000 people listening right now. So,
Okay, I'm going to stay here.
yeah, please. Thank you very much. Sorry, we should have given better directions. We're just getting started, guys. This is only our second show, and with the time delay as well as the noises. Okay, fine. So the question is, your sorry, what's the question that's on the table?
The question?
Yes.
I'm just curious as to when does her husband come home every day from work?
Did you hear the question, Miriam?
The time varies. Yeah, I heard the question. The time varies. In the summer, it's more like 6:30. In the winter, he comes home to pray for the afternoon, so he can come home as early as 5 o'clock.
I see.
Right, but in the times that he's coming home, you're saying at 6:30, he's basically needs to help you right when he comes in. No,
He walks in the door and then
meaning because her daughter's
Right.
going to
It's
sleep
at
at
7.
that 7
Yeah,
o'clock
ideally,
time.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, so we have two issues on the table here. Issue number one is she has one way of speaking that she feels is very respectful, and he's not listening. To him, it sounds very like disrespectful. That's one problem. And then the other issue is this issue of what's quote unquote fair. What's the right thing to do? What's the appropriate level of care or help that he should be giving his wife? Am I stating it correctly? Yeah? Sarit's nodding. How about you, Miriam? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a big problem,
Yeah.
ladies. I have a big problem. And that is that this is a very political issue that we're talking about. This seems like it's, just help around the house. But I could get myself in a lot of trouble by having the opinions that are not feminist or not rights or not like that. So I just want to set the record straight. We talk a lot in here about a woman being empowered, a woman having choices, a woman having freedom to express herself and getting her needs met, all critical. In terms of rights, this is not about getting your rights. This is not about what is equal in a household. As we've spoken many times, equality in the workplace, we need it now. It's ridiculous. We don't have equality. We make 67 cents on the dollar. I'm totally there. But in terms of the home, that is the wrong measurement. The measurement in the home, as we know from our sources, from 3,000-year-old track record of success in the home is measured by shalom, by peace. So let's just look here at the particular situation. If we were an outside observer, we flew in from Mars, okay, and we landed on Earth, and we're saying he works full time. The wife is working, let's call it 4 hours a day, not 3 hours a day. Let's say that's half time. She's working half time. She's up at nights with a baby. She's probably doing most of the food preparation, most of the cleaning. She said she does have household help in it. What is the right thing? What is the fair thing? Okay, this is a good question. If you have an answer to that or a question, please put comments in below, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. But meanwhile, we have to figure out, for Miriam, a lot of what she's going through is stemming from unmet expectations. Okay? When you have unmet expectations, I don't care how crazy those expectations are, it's very upsetting and disconcerting and sad that your expectations are not met. So what are appropriate expectations? So Miriam, I'm going to turn to you, and I'm going to ask you the following question. If you had a choice between extra help around the house or extra time, safe, intimate, good time with your husband, where you feel so close to him. There's no tension there. It was like basically before you said before we had kids, we got along great. So if you could have more time like that or more help from your husband, which one would be more precious to you? Dun, 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 dun.
Definitely more quality time with him.
Whoa. Good answer. Everybody take note. That is the $1 million question, and that's what people spend 20 years getting wrong. So, Miriam, another pat yourself on the back, because that is exactly what is going to make you happier and more satisfied in your life. It's going to give you a better marriage, and it's going to give you a better olam haba, a better future in the world to come after 120. When you get your final reward, it's going to be much greater having that priority in mind 3 years into marriage. Yasher koach, congratulations. Okay, fantastic. So now, that's not only for your own happiness, but here's the kicker. Here's the beautiful thing about that, Miriam. Your child will grow up more whole, more complete, and more able to savor the joy of life by your putting that priority in. More quality time with my husband. That's going to, even if it means you're ignoring the kid, you heard me right. Even if it means your kid is, is wearing a diaper a little longer than they should, or is, didn't get exactly the right amount of vitamins for the day, God himself will come down and take care of your child if you take care of your marriage. And that goes across the board. We have many sources for this. I've shared them before. You can watch prior classes. I've shared all of these sources, or find them in Marriage Secrets. There's all the sources in there, most of the sources in there on shalom bayis, on peace in the home. So, right, good answer. Now, let's circle back. Okay, that's the end goal. Let's take a look at it from your husband's perspective, which is the perspective of I assume, like most women, like most human beings, it would be nice for you if your husband made money, as much money as he is making now, or more money, or bringing in more parnasa, more money into the home. Yeah, would that work for you, or do you care? You don't care.
Yeah.
It would be nice, right?
That would work.
That would work. Okay. Very unenthusiastic response. I thought you were going to say, yeah, hell yeah. But anyway, okay, fine. So what you have to understand about that is, in order for what you have to understand, there's such a weird delay. Isn't it funny? What you have to understand about that is what gives a husband the ability to make more money outside, out in the real world, is having safety on the inside. When a man's home is safe and relaxing, it doesn't always have to be relaxing. Some people have 10 kids. You call that relaxing? I don't think so. But just that he has peace of mind when he walks in the home, that things are coming toward him, that there's no friction, or the friction, when it comes, it's ironed out, and we have conversations to get back to harmony, and then it's harmonious again. That the more menucha, the more serenity that a man has in his home, the better able he is to make parnasa. So people will say, well, I know plenty of people who make a lot of money, and their wife is a mess, and they're constantly demanding and criticizing and whatever. What do you call that, Leah? And the answer to that is, and this is not my own answer, I'm taking this from our sources. The answer to that is, if the husband and wife could work that out better, if the wife could be the kli, the bowl for that more serenity, whatever the guy's making, $1 million a year, he'd be making $10 million a year. So it doesn't, it's, and maybe you don't need $10 million a year. Well, whatever. I do. No, don't get me wrong. No, but I'm just saying that kind of safety in a home allows him to go out and be the breadwinner. Even if he, some wives say, well, I'm a doctor, my husband's a plumber, I make more money than him. Or actually, plumbers these days make more money than the doctors. Thank you. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so, but the issue is that you have to understand that whatever it is, if there is that safety in the home, the income in the home is going to increase. I'm using that as a really trite example because, believe me, money, it sounds like that would be great. What's even more beautiful than that is health, blessings. Is basically what I'm talking about. I'm using money because it's everybody's hot word. catchword, but blessing in the home. There'll be the Shekhinah, the light of God will come into the home if there's peace and serenity and the man feels safe. The woman has to feel safe too, and that's another conversation. But right now, we're talking about making your husband feel safe. So here, he knows if he walks in the door, he's either going to be off the hook, yay, exhale, or he's going to be put to task. And the problem is, why is it your job to be the policeman? Why is it your job to say, would you do this? Would you do that? How, whatever. Maybe it should be that you work out a system where he comes in the door and says, is there anything I can do for you? And you either say no or yes. It could be that that's a solution. I have a feeling if you both worked full time, I would lean more towards that solution because, that's kind of appropriate. But if you're working half time and he's working full time, right? I feel a little bit like more of it's on you and more of it should be on you. And frankly, if there are other things around the house you need more extra help with, I would much rather see you, whatever you said you have help in the house, and I'm going to ask you how much help in a second. But if you have, let's say, 5 hours a week in the house, I would up that to 8 hours, get 3 extra hours of cleaning, and let your husband, come home and feel like any minute now you're not going to make demands of them. How many hours a week do you have of household help at this moment?
Like a good amount. I mean, it's more babysitting, but I would say at least 15 hours a week.
Okay. So is it possible to up that to 20 hours a week? Is that in the budget?
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's your solution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Up it to 20 hours and let your husband off the hook. And here's the other thing about it, Miriam. Your husband has to know when he walks in the door if he's going to be on or off. So I know that puts a little bit of pressure on you because you may not sort of know how you feel. Like I'm sure every day you have good intentions of I'm gonna do it all myself, or maybe you don't, and maybe we should go there and explore that a little bit. But maybe you try to not let him, and then in the last minute you're like, I need help. And frankly, maybe you don't even need the help. Maybe you just want him to feel like you just want to feel like he's a full partner, and this makes you feel like he's not a full partner. So that needs to be explored. But your expectation about demanding him to do it, I think
that's what it is.
I hear.
Right. Ladies, if you guys can relate to Miriam and you feel that you take on all the childcare in your home and your husband's not doing his share, comment, let us know. We do have Facebook comment from Kay who said that I also relate to Miriam, saying she waits until she really needs the help to ask, so the pressure is on every time she asks. I used to always wait to ask because I felt bad to ask, and I felt that asking less would make him more responsive. Yeah. It had the opposite effect because I was so desperate every time I would ask. It helps me to ask for little things also and pour out appreciation when he delivers. Then there's a success story history for both of you when you ask in a desperate time.
That's brilliant. Very good. Thank you very much for sharing that. So basically what she's saying is that when she asked him, by the time she held it in, and then she asked him, she said it in a disrespectful way or in a demanding way or in a desperate way. Is that what you're saying, Sarit?
Yeah, basically that she also, sometimes if you come to somebody asking, from what I'm understanding, she's saying that if you're asking your husband out of desperation, then he feels that desperation and then he feels like overwhelmed by it. And sometimes you feel like you don't want to ask. So you hold off asking and then you're asking out of desperation. Right. Versus she's saying when she does ask, at times when she's asking from a calming place, and then she shows so much appreciation for what he does, he gets all excited about it the next time.
Okay, so I hear that. I was actually heading somewhere else with this, which is that on Mondays and Thursdays, he is on for half an hour, and the rest of the time, he's completely off the hook. So I'm making arbitrary times. I don't know if that works in your family or doesn't work on your family, but I'm just like trying to calculate, like if I were him and I knew I'm walking, it's like he's driving home. When a man drives home into his household, we want to create this longing for us, this desire to be home, this desire to just go home, whatever he does, takes his jacket off, takes his shoes up, puts his slippers on. I don't know what your husbands do, but that he just longs for that. Not that he walks through the door and it's kind of like, oh, where's it going to come from now? What's going to be? What's going to be at my house? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to find. That sense of fear and terror, read my lips, terror. That terror of not having a home where you can just exhale. It's no matter how much he's helping you and what your needs are, it's not worth the price. You can get what your needs met in roundabout ways. And here's one of them, by carefully saying, discussing this with him and saying, listen, I don't want you to feel not safe around the house. I don't want you to feel like any second I'm going to be the police and say, hey, do this, do that, and be mad at you and, be upset with you. The need you have from your husband, Miriam, you need him, you're saying that you need him to do his fair share. I have a different thought for you. It could be you need attention from him. And if that is the case, you would far rather do everything in the house with every detail. And at the end of it, you put the baby to get bed and he says, let's, come sit and tell me about your day. And he gives you a half an hour of undivided love and attention. Or he says, listen, we're going to get a babysitter. When the baby goes to bed, you and I are going to go, and I'm going to go to Home Depot with you and get the little widget for the thing you wanted to get, or whatever it is. That kind of attention. I mean, you yourself said you would much rather have that closeness and intimacy than help. So I think if you understand that trade-off, would that work for you? Something like that? Doing a weekday, doing some kind of something like that? Having Mondays and Thursdays or something where he gives you a half an hour?
Yes, and I hear the trade-off, and I agree with everything you're saying. But it's also that I need to feel like he's also like a part of this, and it's not just always all on me, and it's like has nothing to do with him. Then I start to feel resentful. I wish he would at least offer help. He really will not offer help.
So help. What do you mean? Help with the
not
dishes
even
or
so
help
much
with a
about the
baby?
help, just feeling
Here
like
we go.
he's part of it.
Yeah, they have
Oh,
the
I'm
baby.
sorry.
As you hit somebody.
I didn't mean that.
By the way, we do have.
Don't take that personally.
We did have Leah, by the way, Esther, who commented that any amount of parnasa, money for the house, is always helpful. So
Okay, good.
if you're saying that they will, by putting her husband first and valuing her husband, it's going to bring that blessing of money. She's like, bring
You
it
got
on.
it.
She loves
Guaranteed.
it.
Guaranteed.
And
guaranteed. Did you hear this,
guaranteed.
ladies?
See,
Guaranteed. You put shalom bayis, peace in the home, as number one priority in your life. You will see blessing in the home. We have a dozen sources in our tradition, 3,000 years history of this, and blessing of health, wealth. The kid does better in English class. Whatever blessings you're looking for, focusing on shalom bayis creates all of that.
Yeah, Sarah said she loved what you're saying.
Okay.
So big thumbs up to that. And
Thank
Kay,
you, Sarah.
Yes, Kay responded that, oh yes, not knowing what he's going to walk into is definitely
Terrifying.
a problem. Yeah.
Terrifying.
So
terrifying. Like, have you ever been on a roller coaster and you're on the roller coaster and it's on the way up, and then it gets to the top, and that feeling of, this is going to be fun, but not really, but whatever. That's the feeling they have when they walk through your door. Is that what you want for your husband? Yeah. To walk through, what am I going to walk into now?
Yeah, and Esther actually said they in her house, they have a 5 to 10 minute settling down time when he gets into the home, so he can just sort of
Esther, you're on target.
Right?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, Miriam was just saying something. Miriam, what were you saying? You're saying you want to feel like it's fair. Is that what you're saying?
No, not that it's fair. It's not about fair. It's not about the help even. It's just feeling like he's proactive, and also it's like we're doing this together, even if I'm doing more of the actual work.
Okay, so I've got something gorgeous for you. This is going to be a little hard to swallow.
Like he'll come in and he'll just sit down and start reading.
Right. Okay, so I hear that. So here you have a little bit of a mistaken notion, and it's probably because your father was so active in your childhood, and so you don't have a role model for such a thing, and that's totally, I get it. But I think your notion of what a full partner is needs a little tweaking. So it varies from husband to husband and couple to couple and whatever. So there's no hard and fast rule. But I will tell you, you're missing out on a pleasure that you aren't recognizing. That is one step away from you. And here's the pleasure. You, with your actions of you're doing the dishes and he comes down and sits down and doesn't offer to help with the dishes and he starts reading at the table, your actions are allowing your husband to have pleasure in life. It's an act of kindness. It's an act of avoda, a work of a wife to build the platform, the backdrop for him to have pleasure. So did you have a 1-year-old birthday party for your daughter or son or whatever, your child?
Yeah.
Okay, you did. So
Yeah.
How many other parents and kids did you have at that birthday party?
A lot.
A lot. Okay. So when you were at the birthday party itself. So first of all, forget about the month before, figuring out whether you're doing, green or red plates, or whether you're having, what the menu is and whatever else you're figuring out. Okay. At the actual event, somebody was, where's the bathroom? Oh, do you happen to have a Band-Aid? I cut myself. The entire time you're at the event, pretend, you weren't a guest at that event. You were the host, and you were running around like a chicken with your head cut. Did you even sit down? That's the first question. Did you even sit down during her birthday party?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I had a lot of help.
You had a lot of help. So please send us your advice on how to have a birthday party and being able to sit down. Okay, so my hat's off to you. But what I'm just saying is that you're a lot of things we do for our children. We want to make chocolate chip cookies with them, right? So we put a dough here, dough here, dough here, dough here. We also want to make chocolate chip cookies or roll them out and make little elephants or little, gingerbread houses, whatever it is we want to do. We don't get a chance to do any of that because why? We're sort of the background that allows the beauty to take form. We're the kli, we're the vessel into which the home happens, into which the pleasure happens for our children. Listen, raise your hand if you like to go to Disneyland, okay? I mean, I don't know. Oh, wait, I got people are raising their hand here. Okay, wait, that's not the right. What I mean is Disneyland with a bunch with 5 kids, and this one wants to go on that one. Everyone's screaming. You come home, your head is pounding. Okay, maybe it's fun, but I'm just saying, a lot of what we do as wives and as mothers is provide the platform, the foundation for where things happen. And if you can understand that is in a way a big role of the wife, there's a pleasure and a savoring life that is available there that you can't get in any other way. So when you're there and you're cleaning or whatever you're doing, and your husband is allowed to just savor the home that you were making for yourself. There was a rabbi and his wife died, and someone met him on the street, and he was walking somewhere, and she said, "Oh, where are you going, Rabbi? Are you going home?" He said, No, I don't have a home. I'm going to my house. It was only a home when my wife lived there. Now it's a house. A woman is what makes a house into a home. And that's a great deal of what you are doing, and you need to learn to take satisfaction from that. So your feeling of resentment when he just plops down should be your greatest moment of triumph. because you've done your job successfully. And here's the thing, and please don't look for this in him, but if you create that for him, and you create that for him, and you create that for him, one day he'll look up from his thing and say, oh, do you need some help? Because your act of kindness to him, your act of chesed, of what, how do you translate chesed?
Kindness.
Kindness. Okay, your act of kindness towards him, it will allow him to, he needs to imbibe that, to soak that in. And then, God willing, he'll be able to help you more. But that's not what I would look for. And again, you have to understand, and it's good you see this, that his mother, he didn't have to do anything. His mother did everything. So again, I think in order for I'm not saying be a doormat and do everything and then expect him to change. That's not what we're saying. We're saying shift your appreciation of who you are in the marriage and what your role is, and have a couple of talks with him, say, listen, if I just realized that all the time you're here, I do this. Oh, can you do that? Can you this or whatever? And I'm doing it under duress. And like this woman on the, who wrote Kay, who said, I let it build up till it comes out disrespectful. So for this, say, I don't want to be that person. So how about we set up every Monday night that, you have the kids, you have the baby for an hour or for half an hour or whatever, something like that. And he'll probably say fine. And he'll probably come to love and enjoy and savor that time with the baby. But again, this allows him to be safe in the home for the rest of the week. And also bump your hours up with this lady. If you can add 5 hours to this lady, fantastic. And then that will ease your burden. That's totally appropriate. I have a student, and she is, they start out in their marriage very, very destitute and very, a lot of issues in their marriage. And she made the decision, my husband is not going to ever change one diaper for all my children. He's never going to do that. That's going to be my contribution to the household. And now they live in a mansion. Okay. And yeah. And she said, if you ask her, wow, it's such a pretty place. She said, oh yeah, we start out pretty bare bones, but things went good with the business and blah, blah, blah. And she'll say the reason is because I never, ever let my husband do one diaper. I don't know whether that's true or not true, and I don't want political flack from people saying, or whatever. She did not work, or I think she had a part-time. I'm not even positive, but because this was many years ago, I would say about 7 or 8 years ago, I heard this story. But I'm just saying there is a different perspective to look at it in terms of...
Yeah, in a sense, she put her husband first, so that's where she got the blessings, meaning she said, I'm not going to fight him on it. I'm just going to resolve that this is what I'm going to do. And that, like you said, brought in the blessings. And there's her mansion. And Sarah actually shared, she said, Leah, this is great information. I feel most people in my circle don't know this. So Sarah, share this with your friends. Post and send it to them and let them hear this.
Likes or hearts? I don't know.
Likes and hearts. And
Thank you.
Share it because she's right. This is information that's very powerful and everyone needs to know it.
But here's the thing, savoring, providing everybody else's pleasure, that's a tough ask. We're brought up in the society it's all about me. And the falling in love with doing for others is not even on anybody's agenda or radar. But there is I don't know, your child might be too young, but at 18 months, I'm sure there are things that you did for your daughter, tying her shoelace. There she is, and she's running whatever, and she's kind of whatever, and then you tie her shoelace, and she runs off back out into the playground. Okay, maybe there was something in it for you that you didn't have to take her to the emergency room after she tripped on them or something, I don't know. But mostly, you were just doing this beautiful act. Why? To allow your daughter to have pleasure. If you don't taste that, savor that goodness of what you did and what you accomplished, it's just like, I'm always busy running after her, doing her shoes, pulling her pants up, changing her diaper. I'm always doing. If you don't, we all, myself included, need to stop and freeze and say, my efforts is what allowed people to enjoy. When you have people guests over for Shabbos, or you have, someone, you're entertaining people, or you're just running, and you go, and you get them some spritzer water. I changed my mind. Can I have some oranges? And you bring the oranges. Can I change my mind? Can I have some of that pineapple juice? Whatever it is. And you keep doing and doing, and maybe your steam is coming out your ears, but you keep doing, and you take care of that person. There's a level of satisfaction and pleasure there that we're missing out on. And I'm just telling you, when your husband comes in and you are working and he plops down, you need to taste the satisfaction that you are doing something absolutely beautiful. And if you think about it, you're mimicking what God does for us. He's providing everything for us, the air that we breathe. And he gets satisfaction that we can breathe the air. So when you are just selflessly giving, there's got to be a satisfaction for that. And that's what I would focus on for now, as well as, and then we still have time to cover this issue about your saying things, what you think is respectful, and him hearing them as disrespectful. Okay. Did you have any other questions on that first point before we go to this? Sounds like she's hammering.
No, that really, I feel like you just changed my life in a really amazing way, so thank you.
Oh, please God, you should be blessed with it.
Well, Miriam, you're going to have to come back on in a week or so. Give us a call and let us know how it's working out.
Love that.
Because we're on every week Wednesdays at 11 Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah. If you call in, someone on staff will
because
try
everyone
and
always
remind
calls,
you.
but then we don't hear the rest of it, and it's like, whatever happened?
To her. It's so cute. Well, the other thing, Miriam, is that there's a closeness that you'll see. You'll just, if you, the closeness is there, you just haven't been able to feel it because you've been resentful about what he isn't doing. But if you see, when you're sitting there working whatever, and he's reading at the table,
right,
there's a spiritual closeness there that, is she
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a spiritual closeness there that you try and work yourself to feel. It's hard to feel if you're not used to it. It's kind of like an acquired thing, but just stay tuned towards it, and you'll see. And you will see your husband just more content around the house. And then, as that woman Kay said, then when you do ask him for something, can you change the light bulb, or can you kill the spider for me, or whatever it is, there'll be a pleasure in it because you're doing so much for him. Okay, let's get to the respect question. So you have to understand one thing. Some people's meters are completely broken. So I had many, many years ago a husband who was raised by a father who was quite cruel and mean and sarcastic and, like that, whatever. So that it wasn't no physical abuse, but emotional abuse and verbal abuse is what it's called. I'm not I don't have any letters after my name, so I don't know if there probably is some technical, word for it, but basically it was verbal abuse that he got his whole life. And so he spent his married life working on zipping his lip, talking nicer or whatever, and he accomplished in tone. He accomplished in anger. He didn't get as flustered and angry and whatever. He learned self-mastery over it, and he got to a place that was stellar. Again, major pats on the back. However, he still said unkind things like, I don't like the way you put yourself together or something, And I didn't yell it. I didn't say, put yourself together nicer. I said it so nicely. I don't know why my wife gets so upset about it. So I said to him, your mean meter, MEAN meter, your mean meter is broken. There's a line of what's nice to say and what's mean to say. And there's a line there, the mean line, and you crossed over the mean line. Yes, you said it nicely. Yes, you meant well. Yes, you weren't trying to hurt her. You were just trying to get her to improve or whatever, but you crossed the mean line. So her, your meter is broken. You cannot trust that what's going to come out of your mouth is going to be heard or going to be nice or isn't going to cause damage. Because then he said, well, then she gives him the silent treatment. And he's very upset about that. He came to ask me about her giving the silent treatment. And the real problem was he was creating her giving the silent treatment. It was his instigation by crossing over the mean meter. But he does not have a mean meter. He got that. He heard that. So I said to him, the only way you know whether what you're saying is mean is if she tells you that hurt me. So we made up an agreement, and she did that. And Baruch Hashem, thank God, they really grew a lot in that. So you have to understand, I get it. You've worked very, very hard on speaking kindly and doing it kindly, but probably your respect meter is broken. Probably it's not trustworthy in terms of you just don't even know sort of where the line is between what's not respectful and what is respectful. And the arbiter of what is correct, what is respectful versus, which one did I say was respect? This side? I don't know. Whatever side. This is the respect side. That's the non-respect side. What the arbiter of which one it is your husband.